On a previous episode, we talked about the Sentinelese, a tribe located in the Bay of Bengal that has been isolated from the rest of the world for 60,000 years. They do not like outsiders, and to try to visit is a suicide mission. We'd suggest leaving them alone if you don't want to wind up stricken by a bunch of their arrows. After learning about the Sentinelese, you may be wondering about other unique, untouched tribes. Tribes that decide to remain isolated from society exist all over the world. Here, we'll list a few that we found to be the most fascinating. According to Survival International, there's estimated to be a total of about 100 uncontacted tribes around the world. Sources for this number come from aircraft observations of isolated regions and accounts from locals living nearby these areas. Despite being uncontacted, sources tell us that they know more about the outside world than many would think. A number of them have witnessed our planes and modern technologies hover over them. As experts of the forests, they're aware of our presence but have little interest and choose not to integrate with our societies. Instead, they prefer to stick with their own cultures and customs. Brazil is home to the world's largest population of uncontacted people, with around 80 tribes that are known to inhabit the Amazon rainforest. One tribe in particular consists of only one member. You heard that correctly, one. Deep within the rainforest exists a man who lives entirely on his own. His name is unknown, so officials refer to him simply as the Man of the Hole. He's believed to be the last remaining member of his tribe, a one-member village. No one knows exactly what tribe he belongs to, and no one can understand him. He speaks a language that has practically gone extinct. It's believed that his tribe was wiped out by cattle ranchers who occupied the region of Tanaru in Rondônia State sometime during the 1980s or 1990s. The timeline isn't certain. His nickname Man of the Hole stems from his habit of digging holes over 6 feet deep. He does this to survive. He digs holes to catch animals for food as well as hide from threats. He adamantly rejects any type of contact and is often fearful of others. You can't blame him when considering that he survived being targeted by gunmen in late 2009. That, and after losing the other members of his tribe, anyone in his position would be mistrustful of others too. Where he inhabits, there's a tiny malkoa or house that seems abandoned. It's built of straw and thatch. If you decide you want to see it for yourself though, we'd advise you to beware. If you step too close to this house, the lone Man of the Hole will fire an arrow toward you in warning. If you find yourself in this situation, it's probably best to take the hint and leave. In the house, it's said he stores his supplies: carved arrowheads, calabashes for storing water, dried nuts, and a torch he made from resin. He also has a garden that's rich with produce. He grows pawpaw, manioc, and corn. He made himself a clearing, a path made from trees, to get to the garden under the cover of night in order to harvest the fruits when they're ripe. It's thought that it took him days to create this clearing, as he would have to painstakingly chop down the trees single-handedly. For this reason, he wins our vote for the ultimate loner. In case you're wondering, the observations that were made of his living situation were not made by curious, voyeuristic interlopers, but rather by those who wanted to find out whether the man was still alive and to protect him from invaders. Unfortunately, this is because there are plenty of ranchers in the area that have their eye on his land and are eagerly waiting for him to be bumped off, so to speak. Thus, the man has long lived in constant fear, fighting to survive as the last remaining member of his tribe. BBC describes him as the world's loneliest man, and the New York Post characterizes his life as being the stuff of nightmares. We suppose your life would indeed be nightmarish if you had witnessed your family brutally murdered. Being the last survivor has to be a terrifying ordeal, but since we can't communicate with him, we may never know what his thoughts are on this. We can only assume that he must be tough as nails to have continued his fight for survival this long. Some anthropologists believe his age to be somewhere between 55 and 60 years old. It's believed that he's been living alone for well over 20 years. The devastating reality of the situation is that once he passes on, his culture and language will perish with him. For anyone shedding a tear over this story, there is a bright side. The man's territory has been enlarged by about 11 miles in order to give him more space and more animals to hunt. This was issued by authorities in the hope that the man will be able to live out the remainder of his life in peace. The land is now being protected as a reserve that was established in 2015. Sometimes tools and seeds are left out for him to use. There are many good people who desire to help him while maintaining a respectful distance. The man had it made clear on multiple occasions that he's not interested in making contact or connecting with anyone. This was made all the more evident when he shot and wounded an official with one of his arrows back in 2005. The plan to protect him, though, has been successful since its implementation, and to this day, the Man of the Hole continues to be alive and thriving. He's arguably the world's biggest misanthrope, and yet we just can't help but root for him. The one-man tribe is a fascinating one and a tough one to beat. Still, there's an interesting story about a first contact situation with the tribe that may or may not be a hoax. We'll get to that in a moment, but first, we feel the need to list some honorable mentions. In Brazil's western Amazon basin exists another tribe who are known to be highly aggressive. Explorers used to refer to them as the clubbers, due to their preferred choice of weaponry, the club. They're called the Karubo, and along with the club, they are trigger-happy and like to fire poison darts at any intruders who dare venture too close to their territory. The Karubo weren't discovered by the government until 1972, and since then 7 people were killed while trying to make contact. The Karubo are one of the uncontacted tribes in the Amazon who kill outsiders, and they will even try to attack aircraft with arrows. Their message is clear. Like the Sentinelese, they desire no connection with us, and it's best that they be left alone to their lives peacefully. The Mashco-Piro is one of the most isolated tribes that live along the Manu River in Peru. As you may or may not know, many tribes have been wiped out from disease upon contact in the past. The Mashco-Piro tribe is no different in this respect. They are so remote and detached that even exposure to the common cold could devastate them. Not much is known about this tribe because research expeditions often ended in failure when guides were shot by poison arrows. Message received. Outside of South America, there exists a tribe that was discovered during the Vietnam War. They're known as the Rook people of Vietnam, forest dwellers. They're very shy and extremely difficult to see. This is because they have impressive agility when maneuvering between trees. The tribe is unique because they're thought to possess certain mystical qualities. Their culture emphasizes the use of witchcraft, and it's said that their spells can control the beasts of the jungle. In one mysterious case, a researcher disobeyed and angered a Rook elder, and it was reported that he'd begin foaming at the mouth with blood. No one really understands why or the logic behind it, and whether or not this really happened. It remains a mystery, but given that the researcher met his demise, we wouldn't recommend going to try to see for yourself, not unless you have a suicide wish. Now, we'll discuss a story and then let you decide for yourself whether or not you believe it to be true. There's a video that went viral touching the hearts of many. The video provided footage of a French filmmaker named Jean-Pierre Dutilleux making contact with a hunter-gatherer tribe known as the Tulambi people in Papua New Guinea. The video documentary is 15 minutes long and is believed to be shot in 1976, though critics claim it was actually produced in 1993 and made to look older. If you take the time to watch it, it seems authentic. The tribe members approach Pierre cautiously and touch his arm, seemingly in disbelief of the presence of a white man. In their culture, it's said that the Tulambi perceive white men as members of the Walking Dead. Throughout the film, you'll see tribe members become increasingly more comfortable with Pierre to the point where they invite him into their home. There, they exchange gifts. Pierre shows them objects such as a match, a mirror, a tape recorder, and provides them with medicine. He also tries to learn their language in order to learn how to communicate with them. At the end of the film, they peacefully part ways, having had an experience of a lifetime. Our research staff here with the Infographics show took the time to watch and study the video, which really did seem legitimate. You'd never guess that it's potentially a hoax. The video evokes strong emotions in its viewers. Question is it real or fake? Are the tribe members actors? This controversial film has provoked an ongoing scholarly debate with skeptics, believing it is indeed fabricated. Pierre argues that if the video is fake, then the tribe members are very talented actors who would definitely deserve an Oscar. There are many who debate whether or not indigenous tribes should be contacted, with many asserting that they should be left alone, and others stating that they don't realize what they're missing, and that it's unfair to let them continue living primitive lifestyles without knowledge of our scientific advancements, comforts, and conveniences. In the past, contact with indigenous tribes often did not go well, with intruding newcomers spreading disease that wiped out tribal populations, sometimes to the brink of extinction. Isolated tribal communities do not typically have immunity to our diseases, and they do not assimilate well with our cultures. Some argue that we can just give them medicines to help their bodies fight off the alien pathogens, but then there's the issue of the cost of cultural assimilation. That is, acclimating into our culture may implicate a loss of their own. Though both sides have a good point, it may be best to let them be. This is because, ethically speaking, making contact may be more harmful than beneficial for tribal peoples overall. Introducing them into our world could very well turn a proud, independent culture into one that's impoverished in our society. What do you think? Do you believe tribes should be contacted, or should they just be left alone? Also, if you watched the film we discussed, did you believe it to be authentic, or do you think it was a fake? Let us know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other video, How Did a Whole Village Disappear? The Lost Colony of Roanoke Mystery. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.